Yo, welcome back to Building Blocks for Mental Health, where we keep it real. And today we're going to be diving into the topic. Today we're going to be talking about narcissistic personality disorder. I'm always hearing people talk about this one's a narcissist, that one's a narcissist. So I was like, you know what? Probably it'd be a good idea to do a little bit of research and spread some awareness, provide some information on what the heck is people talking about. How do we make the distinction between identifying someone who is a narcissist or dealing with narcissistic traits, or clinical narcissistic personality disorder. And, sometimes people just have character issues, right? Sometimes people are just jerks. So by the end of this discussion, my hope is that you'll be equipped with the knowledge to recognize the signs of narcissistic personality disorder. And we also want to understand the impact on the individual and relationships and discover what are some things that we can do to navigate these challenging situations like a pro. So let's go. Let's chop in. And if you haven't already done so, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and most certainly, let's keep you coming back, bring it on back. Don't forget to subscribe. All right, so let's chop it up, yo. Let's talk about understanding narcissistic personality disorder. So let's break it down. Narcissistic personality disorder is like when someone's ego is on steroids, yo. It's all the way on like Goku for all of my anime nerds out there. It's like that. It's like, when he's going Super Saiyan, that's somebody's ego on narcissistic personality disorder. So these folks, they have a major ego trip, yo. They're always thinking they're the center of the universe. They're all about themselves. They need constant praise and attention, and they couldn't care less about how their actions affect other people. And really, when you're dealing with someone who has those traits, what you're witnessing is somebody with a toxic combination of grandiose entitlement and a serious lack of empathy. So that's what you're looking at when you're showing somebody, when you're seeing somebody with narcissistic personality disorder. It's more than just not really caring or being a little bit self-centered at times. But one of the things that I always focus on when I'm making the distinction is the lack of empathy. I think that's the one that's the key for me, is the lack of empathy, in addition to, the entitlement, the serious lack of empathy and the extreme entitlement, that these individuals behave, that makes the distinction between somebody that might be a little bit self-awareness, or maybe a little bit self-centered, or a little bit out of sync, but will eventually come around. They'll apologize. You don't have to, they'll eventually think about it on their own, and they'll eventually come around and recognize the error of their ways. For somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, nope, it's always going to be your fault, and everything is always going to be about them. So when you're dealing with someone who has, this type of personality trait, it can have a very negative impact on parents. It can have a very negative impact on children, who are raised in this type of situation, when you're dealing with parents who have narcissistic personality disorder. So growing up with a parent, who has this, that's a whole other level of struggle. Kids in these situations, they often get the short end of the stick. So they're starved for emotional support. They may be constantly walking on eggshells. You're always worrying about setting your parent off. And you feel like you can never measure up. They feel like nothing that you'll ever do for these individuals will ever be good enough. And part of what a person can experience, throughout development, when you're raised by parents with narcissistic personality disorder, is that it's a recipe to breed low self-esteem, confusion about your own identity, and messed up boundaries, right? You have problems maybe standing up for yourself. You have problems advocating for yourself. And sometimes you can have problems trusting people and have problems, saying no. So when it comes to narcissistic personality disorder, and you've been in that situation, you've been raised by parents, who have that disorder, it can affect your ability to really see things clearly and think about, what's the best way to cultivate relationships. And what a lot of people, do from time to time is you end up selecting partners and, who have the same traits, because it's normalized. So you might end up selecting partners who has those same personality traits as those caregivers that you were raised by. And dating someone with narcissistic personality disorder, all right, so we know what it's like to be raised by someone with those traits, but dating someone, that's a wild ride too. And if you find yourself in that situation, you might want to hop off that ride as soon as possible, because these relationships are like a roller coaster from hell, with constant drama, manipulation, and mind games. So in these situations, your feelings are likely to get trampled on, your needs get ignored, and you're probably going to be left feeling like you're always walking on thin ice. So, plus trying to break free from a narcissistic partner's grip, it could be struggle. It could be challenging. It could be a struggle for you, because what often causes challenges with doing that is it mimics the experience that you experience, it mimics the experience that you had with your caretakers, with the person always guilting you and gaslighting you into trying to make you believe that it's not that bad. So what do we do? What do you do if you find yourself in that situation? How do you heal? How do you cope? Well, if you find yourself caught up in the whirlwind of someone with narcissistic personality disorder, listen, don't trip. It's not the end, and there's hope. So first things first. Let's set first things first. One of the things that you want to do is you want to focus on setting some boundaries and sticking to them like glue. You got to protect your own mental health. So, even if it means cutting ties with the toxic person. Also, another thing that I find to be really beneficial is, listen, reach out to people who can be supportive. Reach out for support from family, from friends, or even a therapist who can help you navigate this rocky situation. And remember, listen, it's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself. Self-care is key in those type of situations. So take time for yourself, do things that make you happy, and don't let the narcissist antics drag you down with them. And what to do if you think you're dealing with someone with narcissistic personality disorder. So if you suspect that you're dealing with a narcissistic individual, here's the deal: trust your gut. So one of the things that I think may be helpful is, you go back this J talk and some of the outlines that the guidelines that I laid out for you today is look for those red flags. Look out for those red flags, like constant need. It's not needing attention, constant need for attention. Like this person just always has to be the center of the universe, having an extreme lack of empathy. Extreme lack of empathy doesn't mean that a person gets upset and then will eventually come around. But extreme lack of empathy is when that person cannot see anything outside of their own perspective, and they're extremely manipulative, like manipulation tactics, trying to turn people against you, trying to turn your family against you, trying to turn your friends against you. Hell, some people will even go as far as to try to turn the legal system or your job against you. So those are manipulation tactics. And if you're feeling drained, unhappy, or like you're losing yourself in this relationship, it might be time to reevaluate things. So don't hesitate to reach out for support from a therapist, support groups, or anybody who can help you navigate this tricky situation. So I hope I've provided you with some guidance on what you should be looking for, so that we're learning to differentiate between someone who has narcissistic personality disorder and somebody who's just maybe a kind of rough or a little bit selfish at times. And dealing with somebody who has narcissistic personality disorder is definitely not easy, y'all, but it's not impossible either. And it's my hope, by understanding the signs, setting boundaries, and prioritizing your own well-being, that you can take back control of your life and find your own path to healing. So stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, you got this, as I empower you to continue to build to becoming the best versions of yourselves. So hey, I certainly hope this helps someone. And once again, don't forget to like and share this with someone who you know will help. And hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you soon on the next episode of Building Blocks for Mental Health. Take care out there.